You remember the last time store shelves went empty? It started with toilet paper. People went absolutely crazy over it. Within days, the aisles looked like a war zone, torn up shelves, carts piled high, and nothing left but dust. But here's the truth. No one's talking about, when the next big collapse hits, toilet paper won't even make the top 10 of what disappears first. Not even close. Right now, sitting quietly in your home, there are everyday items, boring, overlooked things you probably haven't touched in months, that will be gone long before most people even realize what's happening. Why? Because the people who've lived through this before, the ones who understand how quickly the chaos snowballs, aren't waiting for the news to tell them it's bad. They're moving fast, stocking up in silence, while everyone else is still scrolling on their phones. And by the time the average person wakes up to what's happening, it'll already be too late. Today we're uncovering 9 underestimated essentials that will vanish faster than toilet paper when the next economic crash comes. These aren't flashy, they're not obvious. But when things start falling apart, these are the first treasures to disappear. And let me be clear, this isn't about fear-mongering. I'm not here to sell you gear or tell you to panic. I'm here to give you the knowledge that could put you 10 steps ahead of the crowd. If you've got your own list of overlooked survival items, share them in the comments. Let's help each other stay ready before the chaos begins. Alright, let's dive in. Number 1, shelf-stable milk alternatives, the silent survival essential. When the panic hits, milk is one of the first things people run for, not because it's rare, but because it's part of everyday life. The problem? Fresh milk spoils fast, and once the power goes out, that carton in your fridge is as good as gone. That's where shelf-stable milk alternatives come in: powdered milk, evaporated milk, and those UHT ultra-high temperature cartons you see in the store, but never think twice about. These aren't just nice to have, they're survival gold. During the 2020 buying frenzy, dairy sections were wiped clean almost overnight. But the real shortage wasn't in fresh milk, it was in the long-lasting stuff. Powdered milk and UHT cartons vanished because they can sit in your pantry for months, sometimes years, without refrigeration. Imagine a blackout, where your fridge is just a warm box of spoiled food. That little carton of shelf-stable milk suddenly becomes priceless. After Hurricane Maria, aid workers reported powdered milk and UHT cartons were among the most requested items, more than canned meat, because they were versatile, kid-friendly and easy to store. You can mix powdered milk with clean water for a drink, use it in soups, baking, coffee, cereal, or even trade it when supplies run dry. And here's the kicker: it's still cheap, still available, and most shoppers walk right past it thinking it's only for campers. When the next panic hits, it will be gone before you can even grab a cart. If you're not stocking up now, you're risking being one of the desperate few searching empty shelves later. Number 2, non-adhesive shelf liners, the gear-saving MVP. Tucked away in the kitchen aisle, these rolls of non-adhesive shelf liners don't look like much. Most people only use them to keep drawers tidy or stop dishes from sliding around, but in a crisis, they can do far more than that, from sliding around. But in a real collapse, these cheap grippy liners can be more than a convenience. They can literally save lives. Here's the harsh truth: when the power goes out, your home instantly becomes a hazard zone. No lights means stumbling in the dark. Add in shaky furniture, improvised setups, and piles of supplies balanced in every corner, and you've got the perfect setup for injuries you can't afford. That's where non-adhesive shelf liners become a quiet hero. They're flexible, easy to cut, and don't need glue or tools. You just roll them out, trim them, and drop them wherever you need extra stability: on pantry shelves, under storage bins, inside crates, or even beneath your bug-out bag, so it doesn't slide when you need to grab it in a hurry. Picture this: an earthquake tremor hits, or maybe you just knock into your stocked pantry in the dark. Without liners, you're looking at broken glass, spilled food, and supplies rolling everywhere. But with liners, everything stays locked in place. During the 2017 Mexico earthquake, first responders actually used shelf liners to keep vital equipment stable, pad fragile crates, and even secure makeshift kitchens. They placed them under camp stoves, around utensils, and under water jugs to stop dangerous slips in chaotic conditions. And the uses don't stop there. You can wrap them around tool handles for extra grip, pad noisy gear if you need to move quietly, or line the base of a DIY sink or emergency toilet bucket so nothing tips over. They're washable, lightweight, and so cheap it's easy to overlook them. But in a crisis, they're worth more than gold. And just like everything on this list, once people realize what they can do, they'll disappear from shelves in a heartbeat. Number 3. Propane tank refill adapters. the tiny tool that keeps you cooking. When panic buying starts, fuel is one of the first things to vanish. Those big 20-pound grill tanks? Gone. The little 1-pound bottles for camp stoves? Vanished. But the people who stay warm, keep cooking, and power their lanterns long after the shelves are empty, are the ones who got their hands on a propane refill adapter. This little piece of brass might not look like much in the camping aisle, but it's a total game changer. It lets you refill those small 1-pound propane bottles directly from a standard 20-pound tank. That means you can stretch your fuel supply without relying on stores, delivery trucks, or ration lines. It's simple. Screw the adapter onto your big propane tank, flip it upside down, and connect your small bottle. Gravity and pressure do the rest. In just minutes, you've got a fresh, full bottle ready to run your stove, heater, or lantern. During the Texas freeze of 2021, when the grid failed and temperatures dropped below freezing, people with these adapters kept cooking and staying warm without a problem. Others? They were burning furniture or standing in endless lines at gas stations. The beauty is that this tool doesn't need batteries, electricity, or complicated parts. For around $10, you get a piece of gear that can refill dozens of bottles and pay for itself many times over. And in a true collapse, when fuel is gone and desperation sets in, this little brass fitting will be worth trading for food, medicine, or other critical supplies. But here's the problem. Once the shelves start emptying, you won't find these adapters anywhere. They'll be gone fast, and the people who grab them early will be the ones still boiling water and heating food when everyone else is left in the cold. In every major blackout, storm, or fuel shortage, propane refill adapters are among the very first things to vanish. The people who understand their value don't wait. They act early, leaving everyone else scrambling in the cold. If you don't already have one tucked into your gear, you're playing with fire literally. Get one now while it's still cheap and sitting quietly on store shelves. Because when the next crisis hits, that little brass fitting will be worth its weight in gold. Number 4. Essential grooming tools. The small items with a big survival impact. When the world starts crumbling, personal hygiene might feel like something you can push aside. But here's the brutal truth. Neglecting the basics can turn small problems into life-threatening ones. Something as tiny as a splinter, a hangnail, or an ingrown toenail can become infected, and without access to medical care, that infection can spiral out of control. That's why nail clippers, tweezers, and small scissors are not just hygiene items. In survival mode, they're medical tools. Dirty, overgrown nails can tear, leaving painful wounds that bleed and get infected. Splinters left in the skin can fester, swelling up and spreading bacteria. Without tweezers, you're stuck digging with your fingers, only making things worse. And scissors? They're not just for trimming hair. In an emergency, they cut bandages, open packages, snip duct tape, or deal with tangled hair that can become a hygiene nightmare, especially for children or the elderly. After the Haiti earthquake, aid workers saw a shocking rise in infections directly linked to poor grooming. The Red Cross eventually began adding nail clippers and tweezers to their hygiene kits, because the demand was that urgent. These tools are light, silent, cheap, and can last for years. You can find a full grooming set at a dollar store and forget about it, until one day it saves you from a serious infection. And in a collapse, they're a valuable trade item. A sealed grooming kit can be swapped for food, water, or medicine, because in a world without doctors, clean tools mean health, and health is priceless. Most people won't think to grab these until the shelves are already stripped bare. But you'll have them ready to go, because sometimes in the middle of chaos, the smallest tools can make the biggest difference. Number 5. Immune boosters. Your body's first and last line of defense. When the next collapse hits, the biggest danger might not be the chaos outside. It could be what's happening inside your own body. Stress, poor diet, lack of sleep, and unsanitary living conditions will pound away at your immune system, leaving you wide open to illness. That's why immune-supporting supplements like vitamin C, vitamin D3, zinc, and elderberry aren't a luxury. They're survival essentials. They don't look flashy, but they're the quiet armor your body needs when everything else is falling apart. In a crisis, your immune system is under constant attack. You'll be eating shelf-stable foods with low nutrition, drinking from stored or backup water sources, and likely getting far less rest than you should. Kids, the elderly, and those with existing health conditions will suffer the most. We saw it in 2020. Immune boosters were gone from store shelves within hours of the first emergency announcements. People weren't just grabbing toilet paper, they were desperately trying to give their bodies a fighting chance. Vitamin C helps fight inflammation and speed recovery. Vitamin D3 plays a huge role in immune strength, especially in winter or when you're stuck indoors. Zinc helps your body block viruses from spreading. Elderberry is known for its antiviral properties, helping to reduce the length and severity of sickness. Supports your immune system and keeps your mood steady, something you'll desperately need during long dark blackout nights. Zinc helps shorten illnesses before they take you down, and elderberry has been trusted for centuries to fight off respiratory infections. Put them together, and you've got a powerful shield against the kinds of sickness that spread like wildfire in crowded shelters or survival camps. The best part? Immune boosters are cheap, compact, and last for years without refrigeration. You can store months of protection in a space smaller than a lunchbox, and in a barter economy, a single bottle of vitamins becomes a high-value trade item. When disease starts creeping through a community, people will swap food, tools, even fuel for a way to protect their families. If you're not stocking up now, you're leaving your health and your survival up to chance. When the real battle starts, your body needs every possible advantage. Number 6. Charcoal starter cubes. Fire without the struggle. When the grid fails and the temperature drops, fire is no longer a comfort, it's survival. You need it to cook meals, stay warm, boil drinking water, and sometimes just to keep the darkness from swallowing you whole. But here's the problem: starting a fire in a crisis isn't always easy. Maybe your wood is wet, the wind is against you, or your lighter is nearly empty. That's why charcoal starter cubes are one of the most underrated survival items out there. These little blocks of fire-starting magic will burn hot and steady for up to 10 minutes with just one spark, whether from a lighter, match, or even a flint striker. That's enough to get damp wood blazing, ignite charcoal, or power a makeshift stove. Unlike lighter fluid, they don't leak, evaporate, or fill the air with toxic fumes. And with proper ventilation, they're safe enough to use indoors, perfect for lighting heaters or cooking setups during a blackout. Think back to the Texas freeze of 2021. Many families, desperate for heat, resorted to burning furniture in their living rooms. But those who had starter cubes lit grills, boiled water, and ate hot meals while others shivered in the dark. They're compact, weigh almost nothing, and last for years. You'll find them in the BBQ aisle, usually ignored in favor of lighter fluid. But in a collapse, fire is life, and starter cubes become instant currency. One cube could mean a warm night, a cooked meal, or safe drinking water, and people will trade almost anything for that. If you're serious about surviving, don't underestimate these little blocks of certainty. Stock up now, because when the cold closes in and the lights go out, you'll be glad you did. Number 7. Personal water filter straws, instant hydration anywhere. When the taps run dry, nothing else matters. Forget food, forget fuel, without clean water, you've got a 3-day countdown before your body gives out. Most people tell themselves they'll just boil water, if it comes to that. But what if you're not at home? What if you have no firewood, no gas, no time? That's when a personal water filter straw becomes your lifeline. These compact, lightweight tools can turn a muddy puddle, a rain barrel, or a roadside stream into drinkable water in seconds. Imagine this: the tap runs dry, the air smells like mildew, and the only water around is a muddy puddle or a green, algae-covered pond. Most people would panic. But you pull a small device from your pocket, no bigger than a marker, take a sip, and you're safe. No boiling, no chemicals, just clean, drinkable water in seconds. This isn't science fiction, it's the power of a survival filter straw. Originally created for humanitarian crises, these straws have saved lives in flood zones, war-torn regions, and disaster sites around the world. After the 2010 Haiti earthquake, waterborne diseases spread like wildfire, but aid workers with these straws were able to stop infections almost overnight. The truth is, in any emergency, clean water disappears first.